How do you know if someone actually likes you? Not because they smiled at you once. Not because they watched your story. And definitely not because they replied with a certain emoji. Real interest usually shows up through patterns. When someone likes you, they tend to make room for you in their attention, their time, and their life. So here are the signs you should actually pay attention to. 1. They find reasons to talk to you. One of the clearest signs is that conversations don't always depend on you. They might start conversations themselves. Ask you random questions. Send you something they think you'll find interesting. Or continue a conversation even when there isn't an obvious reason to. The important part isn't one conversation. It's the repeated effort. 2. They remember small details. You casually mentioned something weeks ago, and they remember it. Your favorite thing. Something you were worried about. A story you told them. A small detail about your day. Why does this matter? Because people naturally pay more attention to things they find personally important. Remembering details doesn't prove romantic interest by itself, but when combined with other signs, it can be meaningful. 3. They make time for you. Everyone gets busy. But when someone genuinely enjoys talking to you, they usually find some way to maintain the connection. Maybe they can't talk for hours. Maybe they respond later. But they don't constantly leave you doing all the work. There's a difference between, "I'm busy right now, I'll talk to you later," and constantly giving you nothing to work with. Look at the pattern. 4. They try to keep the conversation going. Pay attention to what happens after you answer their question. Do they ask another? Do they introduce a new topic? Do they joke around? Do they seem interested in learning more about you? Someone who wants the conversation to continue usually contributes to keeping it alive. If you're doing 100% of the work every time, that's a different story. 5. Their energy changes around you. Sometimes interest shows through behavior rather than words. They might become more energetic, laugh more, pay more attention to you, become slightly nervous, or suddenly care more about how they come across. But don't overanalyze this one. People act differently for hundreds of reasons. It's useful only when it appears alongside several other signs. 6. They look for one-on-one moments. There's a difference between someone who only interacts with you when everyone is around, and someone who also looks for opportunities to talk to you individually. They might ask you to walk with them, start a private conversation, or choose to spend some time with you when they have other options. Repeatedly choosing your company can be a meaningful sign. 7. They show curiosity about your life. When someone is interested in you, they often want to know more about you. Your goals, your interests, your opinions, your experiences. Not because they're conducting an investigation, but because you have become interesting to them. And notice whether they're actually listening to your answers instead of just waiting for their turn to speak. 8. They treat you differently. This one requires observation. How do they behave with everyone else? And how do they behave with you? If they consistently give you more attention, initiate more conversations, remember more about you, or seek your company more than they do with others, the difference can tell you something. Don't compare one tiny behavior. Look at the overall pattern. 9. They make their interest clearer over time. This is probably the biggest sign. Real interest usually becomes clearer, not more confusing, as you get to know each other. You shouldn't have to spend months decoding every message. Eventually, their behavior should give you a reasonable idea of where you stand. If someone consistently shows interest, communicates with you, and makes an effort to be around you, that's much stronger evidence than random signals. 10. They notice changes in you. You change your hairstyle. Wear something different. Act quieter than usual. And they notice. Most people don't closely observe everyone around them. When someone regularly notices small changes in you, it can show that they're paying extra attention. 11. They bring up things you did together. They randomly mention a conversation you had. Bring up an inside joke. Remember something funny that happened between you. Or say something like, "Remember when we..." That means the interaction stayed in their memory. And repeated references to shared moments can be a sign that those moments matter to them. 12. They want your opinion. They ask, "What do you think? Which one should I choose? Would you do this?" It doesn't automatically mean attraction. But if they regularly seek your specific opinion, it shows that your perspective has become important to them. 13. They try to impress you. Pay attention when someone seems to put a little extra effort into showing you their abilities. Maybe they talk about something they're good at, show you something they've accomplished, or become more confident when you're around. People often want to be seen positively by people whose opinion matters to them. 14. They tease you playfully. Playful teasing can sometimes be a way of creating a more personal connection. They might joke about your habits, give you a nickname, or bring up something embarrassing in a playful way. But there's an important difference. Playful teasing should still feel respectful. If it makes you uncomfortable, it's not a good sign just because someone calls it flirting. 15. They share personal things with you. Someone starts telling you things they don't normally tell everyone. Their worries, their goals, their embarrassing stories, things happening in their life. Opening up can indicate trust and emotional closeness. But again, trust doesn't automatically equal romantic attraction. It means the relationship is becoming more personal. 16. They check your reaction. You say something funny. They look at you to see if you laughed. Something happens in a group. They look toward you. They tell a story and seem interested in whether you approve. People often look toward someone whose reaction matters to them. 17. They include you in future plans. They say, "We should go there sometime. You should come with us. We should try that one day." These statements aren't necessarily romantic, but repeatedly including you in future plans can show that they expect and want you to remain part of their life. 18. They try to get to know your friends. If someone becomes interested in your social world, they may ask about your friends, interests, or the people you spend time with. This can happen because they simply want to understand you better. But when combined with other signs, it can show increasing interest in your life. 19. They notice when you pull back. You stop initiating conversations. You become quieter. You give them less attention. And suddenly they ask, "What's wrong? Why are you so quiet? Everything okay?" Someone who pays attention to your presence may also notice your absence. 20. They match your energy. If you're excited, they become more energetic. If you're joking, they joke back. If you're having a serious conversation, they become serious. People naturally mirror the behavior of people they feel connected to. It's not proof of attraction, but it can be another piece of the pattern. 21. They give you genuine compliments. Not every compliment means attraction. But notice the type of compliment. Nice shoes is completely different from repeatedly complimenting your personality, humor, confidence, or the way you make them feel. Personal compliments can sometimes reveal deeper appreciation. 22. They don't just respond, they initiate. This is one of the easiest things to observe. If you stop initiating for a while, do they eventually reach out? Healthy interest usually involves effort from both sides. If you're always starting the conversation, always making plans, and always keeping things alive, don't convince yourself that every small response is a hidden sign. 23. They seem comfortable being themselves around you. At first, people may try to present their best version. But as comfort develops, they become more natural. They joke more, talk freely, share random thoughts, and don't seem worried about being perfect. Feeling comfortable around someone can be an important sign of growing connection. 24. They give you their attention. When you're talking, they actually listen. They put the phone down. Remember what you said. Ask follow-up questions. And don't constantly look for an excuse to leave. Attention is valuable. Where someone consistently chooses to place their attention can tell you a lot. 25. Their interest is consistent. This is the final test. Not one smile. Not one compliment. Not one late-night conversation. Look at the pattern over time. Do they repeatedly make an effort? Do they initiate? Do they remember things? Do they want to spend time with you? Do they communicate? Do they respect you? When several of these things happen consistently, you have much stronger evidence that the connection matters to them. 26. They remember your routine. They know when you're usually free, when you have classes, work, or other regular activities. It shows they've been paying attention to your life. 27. They ask about your day. Not just once. They regularly ask how your day went, what you did, or how something important to you turned out. That's a sign that your everyday life has become interesting to them. 28. They follow up on things you told them. You mentioned that you had something important happening today. Later they ask, "So how did it go?" That's stronger than simply remembering your name. They're remembering what matters to you. 29. They want to know your goals. They ask what you want to do in the future, what you're working toward, what kind of life you want. When someone becomes curious about your ambitions, they're getting to know more than just your surface personality. 30. They notice your mood. You don't even tell them something is wrong, but they ask, "Are you okay? You seem different today." That kind of awareness can show that they're paying close attention to you. 31. They try to make you laugh. They send something funny, make an inside joke, tell you a story, or deliberately try to lighten your mood. Making someone smile can be a way of creating emotional connection. 32. They share things with you first. Something funny happens. They discover something interesting. They have exciting news. And you're one of the first people they tell. That can show that you're becoming an important person in their social world. 34. They get curious about your type. They might ask what kind of person you like, what qualities you find attractive, or what your ideal relationship looks like. Again, it's not proof, but it can reveal that the subject matters to them. 35. They create inside jokes with you. An inside joke is something that only the two of you really understand. It creates a small shared world. When someone repeatedly builds on those jokes, it can show that they enjoy the unique connection between you. 36. They are happy when you show up. Watch their reaction when you unexpectedly arrive. Do they smile? Become more energetic? Come over and talk? Try to include you? One reaction isn't enough, but repeated positive reactions can tell you something. 37. They try to include you. In a group conversation, they bring you into the discussion. They ask what you think. They make sure you're not left out. They may even introduce you to other people. That shows they value your presence. 38. They give you their full attention. There's a difference between hearing someone and actually listening. If they remember what you said, respond thoughtfully, and stay engaged in the conversation, that's a stronger sign of connection than simply replying quickly to messages. 39. They don't constantly play games. Real interest doesn't require endless mind games. Someone who genuinely wants a connection will generally communicate, make an effort, and give you opportunities to understand where you stand. Confusion shouldn't be mistaken for attraction. 40. They respect your boundaries. This is an underrated sign. If you say you're busy, they respect it. If you disagree, they don't attack you. If you need space, they give it. Healthy interest includes respect. 41. They want to know your friends. They may become curious about the people you spend time with, who your closest friends are, what you do together, what your social life is like. It can be a sign that they're becoming more interested in your world. 42. They notice when you're absent. You normally talk regularly. Then you're suddenly gone. They ask where you've been or whether everything is okay. Your absence has become noticeable to them. That can be meaningful. 43. They make small efforts without being asked. They remember something you like, send you something relevant, save you a seat, help you with something. These little actions can reveal genuine consideration. 44. They want to share experiences with you. Instead of only talking online, they want to actually do things together. Study, walk, play a game, go somewhere with friends, work on something together. Shared experiences can strengthen a connection much more than endless texting. 45. They talk to you even when there's nothing important to say. Sometimes the conversation has no real purpose. They're just talking, sending random thoughts, talking about their day, sharing something they just saw. That can mean they enjoy your company, not just the information you're giving them. 46. They don't disappear when you stop chasing. This is important. Don't intentionally ignore someone as a test. Instead, simply stop doing all the work. If the connection matters to them, they will usually contribute too. Healthy interest should not require one person to carry everything. 47. They show interest in your personality. They aren't only interested in your appearance. They want to know how you think, what makes you laugh, what you believe, what you're passionate about, what kind of person you are. That's a much deeper form of interest. 48. They become more open over time. At first, the conversations might be basic, but eventually they start sharing opinions, stories, fears, ambitions, and personal experiences. Growing openness can indicate increasing trust. 49. They make you feel like the interest goes both ways. You don't feel like you're constantly trying to prove yourself. You don't feel like you're begging for attention. The conversation moves naturally. Both people initiate. Both people listen. Both people make an effort. That's what a healthy connection looks like. 50. The clearest sign, they make it clear. Eventually, you shouldn't need to analyze every tiny behavior. If someone genuinely wants something more with you, their behavior and communication should gradually make that clearer. And if you're still completely unsure after watching the pattern for a while, the best move isn't another psychological trick. Communicate. Because there is a huge difference between, "I think they like me," and, "I know where we stand." The first comes from guessing. The second comes from communication. And that's the real lesson. Don't become obsessed with decoding someone. Pay attention to their effort, consistency, respect, and communication. ***. Those things tell you far more than a random glance ever will.